Hello again. Today we are looking at unit number 5, and we will be discussing measuring length, mass, volume, and temperature. This will be more of a revision because we've done it in term 1. But because this is the work that will be assessed in term number 2, I want us to go through it again and so that we can refresh our mind. Okay, so we are going to check measuring length, measuring mass, measuring volume, and measuring temperature. The learning objectives at the end of this unit: you must be able to know different measuring instruments. You must be able to calculate temperature using formula. You must be able to do conversions for recipes and other contexts. You must be able to analyze the weather charts. This is on page 80 of your textbook. Okay, and we are starting with measurement. They say the ability to measure length, mass, volume, and temperature is an essential skill. It will allow you to plan effectively in order to perform various tasks. Suppose you want to know how far you have cycled, how much cake flour you need for a recipe, and how much weight you have lost after following a diet, or how warm the oven needs to be set for baking a cake. If you can measure accurately, you will be able to do all these things. Many measuring units are based on the human body. These measuring units are not completely accurate, but you can use them sometimes to estimate measurements if you do not have any measuring instrument at hand. For example, the distance from your shoulder to your fingertips is about 1 meter. So if you measure from your shoulder, you straighten your arm to your fingertips, it is about 1 meter. The length of a large stride is also about 1 meter. So if you open your legs, you take one footstep, that is about 1 meter, but that is just an estimate. Okay, it is always preferably to have the precise measurements to enable us to work accurately. That is why we need appropriate measuring instruments. Okay, we cannot always use our body. Okay, so let's look at the distance and the length. You need to know these definitions. Okay, distance refers to long measurements. For example, the distance between two towns, we measure distance in kilometers. Okay, so distance is for long measurements and it is in kilometers. And then length refers to shorter measurements. Okay, for example, length of a book or the distance around an athletics track. We measure length in millimeters, centimeters, and meters. Okay, and let's look at the next page, 81. They say, remember, you must know the following conventions for testing and examination purposes. You don't have to stress about this. For us, the convention for measurements, we know we use our interesting story. King Henry died miserable death called measles. Okay, so don't even confuse yourself with this one. Let's stick to what we know. And let's look at the various measuring instruments for a length and distance. A ruler is divided into millimeters and centimeters. Okay, if you look at the ruler, this one has got only one side. Your ruler would have normally two measurements on both the sides. So the other side will be millimeters and the other side will be centimeters. It is normally 15 centimeter or 30 centimeter long, and it is used to measure short lengths such as a cell phone or a calculator. Then we have a tape measure. A tape measure is divided into millimeters, centimeters, and meters, and it is used to measure the length of a wall in the classroom, for example. And we have a treadle wheel or a measuring wheel, uh, which is divided into meters and is used to measure distances that are too far to measure using a tape measure, for example, a tennis court or a hockey field. It is also used to measure distances that are too short to measure using the odometer. Okay, now let's look at the odometer. This is what you see in the car. An odometer measures the distance a vehicle travel in kilometers. Okay, so this will show the distance that the car travel in kilometers. Now we look at the mass or weight. Let's also look at the definition. Mass or weight refers to how light or how heavy an object is. We measure mass or weight in milligrams, okay, and in grams and in kilograms or in tons. Okay, we use different kinds of scales in different situations to measure mass or weight. Remember, you must know the following convention for testing and examination purpose. We have already dealt with this table where we have tons, kilograms, grams, and milligrams. And that if you go forward direction, you multiply with 1000. And that if you go backward direction, you divide with 1000. This we've already done in first term or term number 1. They say study the table to see which scales we use to measure certain objects. Let's look at the measuring instruments for mass and weight. We have a kitchen scale. We use a kitchen scale to weigh small quantities of food or ingredients for a recipe. Kitchen scales are divided into grams and kilograms, and they can sometimes weigh a mass of up to 5 kilograms. And we have a bathroom scale. We use the bathroom scale to measure our body weight. Bathroom scales are divided into grams and kilograms, and they normally measure mass up to 150 kilograms. A bathroom scale can be analog or digital. This one, it is an analog one. Then we have supermarkets and butchery scale. The supermarkets and butcheries use a store scale. This is a store scale to weigh fruits, vegetables, biltong, or dry balls. Each product is allocated a price per kilogram. Customers then pay an amount in relation to the weight of the product per kilogram. So the onion that you see here, it would have a price per kilogram of onion, and the peppers would have the price per kilogram of peppers. So per kilogram of onion would not be the same as per kilogram for peppers. And we have a platform scale. They say veterinarians use a platform scale to weigh pets, while farmers weigh their cattle using the same kind of scale. This is a veterinarian scale. And we have the last one, the weigh bridge. The weigh bridge weighs heavy vehicles such as trucks to prevent the vehicles from being overloaded. Overloaded trucks can damage the roads and cause accidents. So in most of the freeways, you will see a weigh bridge where only the trucks and heavy vehicle can go to that side to weigh the vehicles if they are not overloaded. Okay, So before using the scales must be calibrated to ensure that accurate readings are given. Before weighing an object, the scale must be placed on a level surface and it must show a reading of 0. Always when you weigh, just make sure that when you start, the scale is at the 0 marking. And let's look at the volume now. Volume refers to the space that a gas, liquid, or solid occupies. Liquids such as water, milk, oil, and petrol are measured in milliliters, liters, and kiloliters. Solids such as sand, cement, and stone are measured in cubic millimeters, cubic centimeters, and cubic meters. Okay, so this is very interesting. They say liquids are measured in milliliters, liters, and kiloliters. That is units for volume. And solids, they are measured in uh, cubic milliliters, cubic centimeters, and cubic meters. That is also another other units for volume. Remember, you must know the following conventions for testing and examination. We have already done this in the previous term as well. Okay, so this is volume for liquids. This is the table for volume for solids. And we have megaliters, we have kiloliters, we have liters, and we have milliliters. Please take note, mega, M for mega is a capital M, and milli, it's the small m. So we have megaliter, kiloliter, liter, and milliliters, and the factor is 1000. If you go forward direction, you multiply with 1000. If you're going backward direction, you divide by 1000 for each and every step. And same with the solid, for volume for solids, we have kilometer cubed, meter cubed, centimeter cubed, and millimeter cubed. Okay, so the multiplying factor there is 1000 to the power 3 and 100 to the power 3 and 10 to the power 3 there. Okay, so if you go forward one step, you multiply by 1000 to the power 3, and if it's 2 steps, it will be 100 to the power of 3, and if you go another step, it will be 10 to the power of 3. I am not sure if the table that we used last term is similar like this, but we can check and verify just to make sure that we use the factors correctly. Okay, and let us now look at the measuring instruments. For volume, we have measuring spoons. Okay, so measuring spoons measure small units in milliliters. 1 teaspoon is equal to 5 milliliters. You need to know that. And 1 tablespoon is equal to 15 milliliters. And we have measuring cups. Measuring cups measure bigger units in milliliters. 1 cup is equal to 250 milliliters. Measuring jugs measures liquids such as water, milk, or oil in milliliters. The most common capacity of measuring jug is 1 liter. And we have a bucket. A bucket measures liquids in liters. The most common capacity of a bucket is either 5 liters or 10 liters. We also have a wheelbarrow. A wheelbarrow is used to transport small loads during construction or garden work. There are different kinds and sizes of wheelbarrows that are used for specific purposes in various situations. That takes us to the end of volume, and we will look at the temperature, which is still a revision since we have covered this work in term 1. Let me take this down a little bit. Temperature refers to how cold or hot something is. In South Africa, we measure temperature in degrees Celsius. Other countries like USA measure temperature in degrees Fahrenheit. The higher the temperature, the warmer it is, and the lower the temperature, the colder it is. Water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. Please know this. We call it freezing point. So 0 degrees Celsius is the freezing point. If it is extremely cold and the temperature drops below freezing point, the temperature becomes negative. Below freezing point, the temperature is negative. And the measuring instrument that we use for temperature are thermometers. Okay, but we've got different types of thermometers. The first one is a liquid in-glass thermometer. This thermometer measures the temperature of the environment. The thermometer is divided into intervals and it contains mercury or alcohol. So this is the thermometer. Inside this blackish purplish, it's either mercury or alcohol. As the temperature rises or drops, the liquid moves up or down in the glass tube to show the temperature. A liquid in-glass thermometer is an example of an analog thermometer. There are also digital thermometers. And we have a clinical thermometer. A clinical thermometer looks like a normal thermometer and is used to measure the body temperature. Normal body temperature ranges between 36.5 degrees Celsius and 37.5 degrees Celsius. Digital thermometers are quite common these days. Those are the ones that we use when you come in, go out, and during the day to check your temperature. When cooking food in the oven or baking something, you turn the oven button to regulate the temperature. The number on this button shows degrees. This is also a thermometer. And we have a weather chart. Okay, a weather chart indicates the minimum and maximum temperature. So if we are looking at Kimberley, for example, let me maximize this so that you can see Kimberley. Let's do, oh no, let me see, what have I done? I want to go to that weather chart. Where am I now? Yes, I wanted to maximize this weather chart so that we can see Kimberley. So you see Kimberley, we have a minimum temperature of 8 degrees Celsius and maximum temperature of 18 degrees Celsius. And we look at, what else can we look at? We can look at Mthatha. We've got a minimum temperature of 8 degrees Celsius and the maximum of 13 degrees Celsius. These are weather charts that we can also use to measure temperature. Okay, and we have convention for temperature. They say that make sure that you know the following formulas when converting from degrees to Fahrenheit, from degrees Fahrenheit to degrees Celsius and vice versa. We already have this table. We have done it in the previous term, the convention for temperature. Okay, so we have a two example where we convert from one unit to another. So as a revision for measurement, please do activity 24 from number 1 all the way to number 7. Activity 24 on page 86, number 1 to number 7. So this should be a revision because this work was covered in term 1. It was also covered in grade 9. Okay, all the best.